Okay, in this module, I'm going to talk about one of my all-time favorite subjects, confidence. Okay, now, what I'm going to talk about isn't confidence itself, but I'm going to bust a myth around confidence. The myth is that you have to be a confident person in order to project confidence. Now, notice how I don't just say look confident. I'm talking about projecting confidence onto others. The reason that this is a myth is that it is completely inaccurate. You do not have to be a confident person in order to project confidence. What you do need, though, is to understand how people perceive confidence. So here it goes. Often, people will look at somebody and they will think, wow, that person's really confident. Little do they know, though, that behind that facade, a person might be absolutely sweating bullets. They could be a nervous wreck, stressed, anxious, all of the things. However, that's not what the audience are looking at. That's not what the audience are taking on board. When it comes to projecting confidence, what I like to do is to break it down into small, bite-sized actions that a person can do to help project that image. Now, this is not a fake it till you make it scenario. Rather, this is about understanding other people's perceptions and how you leverage other people's perceptions to your advantage. Everybody makes assessments and judgments on other people. This is how we've evolved, and it's okay. We make those assessments and those judgments because in times past, and maybe even now, if you were unable to assess whether a person was a threat or not, then you were in trouble. What has helped keep us alive is that ability to assess others, an ability to judge others. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of judgments where you judge a person on what they've done and hold it over them and all those kind of things. I mean simply looking at a person and assessing them and judging them for what they look like and how that's going to feed into your mental description of whether they're a threat or not, or how credible they might be. Here's an example. Right now, I'm wearing a suit and a shirt. I'm leveraging people's perceptions. If I was to turn up how I might be dressed perhaps on the weekend, with maybe a t-shirt or a hoodie, maybe a cap on, shorts, then the image that I'm projecting to you is one that's a lot more relaxed and probably lacking in professionalism. So naturally, I leverage other people's perceptions and I wear a suit. Now, I don't just wear a suit for this video, by the way. I will always be in a suit when I'm at work or in the office. Part of it is because it puts my mind into a gear of saying it's business time. But also, I know that other people will find me more engaging and more credible by wearing a suit. Now, that's their perceptions that I'm leveraging, right? So when you look at this and how to break this myth, because this is a big one for people, especially for people that lack confidence or find their confidence gets shattered quite quickly, you can rebuild it, and you can rebuild it in small ways that are going to give you the effect of having that positive influence on your audience. So, as a facilitator, or as a presenter, or even as a manager, and you're having a conversation in a one-to-one, here are some simple things that you can do to project confidence and break the myth that you have to be a confident person in order to project that confidence. Now, the first one I like to do is, if I'm doing a presentation or facilitating a workshop, is when I stand, I look at how I'm standing. Now, if I was to stand and have my feet crossed in front of each other, two things happen. One is I'm not really directing my energy towards anybody in general, or I'm not really directing my energy at anybody. I've kind of folded in on myself. It makes me look nervous. It makes me look like I don't have a lot of confidence. It makes me look like I don't want to be there. However, the first pose I always stage up and always set up when I'm presenting is to put my feet just outside shoulder width apart and with my toes splayed outward slightly. The next time you give that a try, that pose, what you're going to find is that it naturally draws back your chest and you start to lift your chin up, and it's easier for you to breathe as well. There's less of that hunched up thing taking place. That simple act of putting your feet outside shoulder width apart with your toes splayed slightly outwards is going to act as a catalyst for you to build your confidence and to add on other areas, other small actions that you can do that will once again reinforce the confidence that you're projecting, which in turn will be picked up by your audience as you being more credible and you being more engaging. When you start looking at how you're doing your poses, you want to do them strategically. So you think about them in advance. If you're seated, here's another one I like to do. It's called the steeple. Now, you're going to see this, now that I've just shown it to you, you're going to see this a lot more whenever you look at international diplomats or people in high positions of power or positions of influence. You'll see this a lot, particularly if they're around a boardroom table. This steeple effect gives one of calm and tells other people that you're a considerate person. You're thinking about what's taking place. Just quietly, if you feel really nervous, you can actually hide a little bit behind this, and that's okay while you're projecting that confidence, but soon enough you're going to want to open your hands up and be more expressive. On that, that's another way that you can break that myth, is to use your hand gestures a bit more. Use your hands to tell the story, which I'll pick up in another module. But once again, all of those little tools, all of those small actions are going to go towards you projecting that confidence. All right, I'll leave it at that. Definitely check out the other modules. Make sure you check out the resources as well for tips on what you can do to help break that myth and project more confidence. All right, give those a try.